What is up, gentlemen? Welcome to Dueling Aces. Literally hours before a trade deadline in the NFL. But first and foremost, let's talk about, as we were just starting to chit chat about the crash that was yesterday.
I mean, it really wasn't though. Like I went back, and by the way, before we get going, I just want to say that I should replace Akers in the show open instead of having just an also ran title.
I,
I think
I'll second the motion.
I hear Burridge already thirding them.
motion carries. Yes.
You could hear Burridge thirding it if he would show up.
Yeah.
Ooh. Shots fired along with the well played.
Wow.
So yeah, uh, the penultimate race for the NASCAR season was this past weekend in Martinsville. Trucks, Xfinity, Cup all set their championship for. The Xfinity race was the pinnacle of what good, hard, short track racing was supposed to be. And Adam was probably sulking after that Michigan loss, so he didn't see it.
I don't sulk anymore. I just kind of expect it.
Fair enough. But that was a really good race. The truck race was terrible.
Parking lot.
It was literally, so that truck race was 200 laps. You want to take a guess at how many caution laps they had in that truck race?
Look at the, what did you say, 120 something?
88.
I don't know. I never watched it. I should have, but I didn't.
88 of 200 laps were run under caution because of the number of wrecks. The Cup race yesterday was it was good for 200 plus laps in the last 120. There were 6 cautions in the first 2 stages. There were 9 in the last stage alone.
When you got 5 guys fighting for what, 2 spots or whatever it was.
1.
Yeah, it ended up being 1.
Technically, it was 2 because if we go back to the event that George wanted to start the show off with, which was the Denny Hamlin Alex Bowman bump in the corner. If Denny Hamlin finishes 26th or worse, he's out of the championship 4. And then Kyle Busch and Martin Truex would have been in. You'd still have 2 Gibbs cars and 2 Hendrick cars, but you're not. It wouldn't have been Denny Hamlin. But like I was starting to tell you, I went back today after work and rewatched the last 20 laps of that race. 25 laps because the wreck happened at lap 23. Bowman's on old tires on the left side. He had been running near the top of the top all day. He never really went out of the top 10. He ran up front all day long. And he was running on old side left tires, got down into 3 and 4 or 1 and 2 and got loose on the curbing. Like his left side tires got up on the curbing, slipped, he got loose and shoved Hamlin up the track. It legitimately was a racing incident. It wasn't anything intentional. If you watch the lap before, he gets by Hamlin and doesn't want to plow into him in the corner, so he lifts and lets Hamlin drive right by him. He wasn't trying to wreck him. It was literally a racing incident. But I said it today, and I'll continue to say it. Hamlin complaining in the post-race interview about what happened is indicative of how he's been all playoffs long. Anytime he's had a microphone in his face, he's complained about non-playoff drivers playing, racing him hard. And it's like he wants preferential treatment. He wants them to just move over and let him by because he's Denny Hamlin and he's racing for a championship. And that's not how it works.
I was still racing for a purse. They're still racing for money.
Yes. And sponsorship.
Yeah. I mean, that's stupid.
And you're still racing for...
He's been one of my pick drivers for the whole year. But still, it's like, dude, shut up.
And you're still racing for an owner's championship. I mean, the manufacturer's championship was sewed up in Vegas or in oh God, what was the first race in the second round? Texas, when Larson won. He sewed it up
Chevy.
there for Chevy. So manufacturer's championship is sewed up, but you still have the owner's championship, which is going to come down to Gibbs and Hendrick, and you still have the driver's championship. And I hate this ideal that if you are a non-playoff driver, you're just not supposed to drive as hard because it'd be like telling the Detroit Lions or the Browns or the whomever when they're playing shitty and they're not going to make the playoffs to not play the Packers or the Bears or the Patriots.
And don't play hard. Just
don't play hard. They've got the playoffs. We don't want to injure them for the playoffs. Like, you're still playing for pride at that point. You're still racing for pride.
And you're playing for a position. You are playing in racing. You're playing for your ride.
Yes.
You're racing for your sponsor.
So
how is your sponsor going to feel if you're just screw it, whatever.
Right.
Just you guys go.
So the kid who ended up winning the truck race, Zane Smith, doesn't have a ride next year. He doesn't have a ride. He's trying to get a ride, and his move at the end of the race on Saturday put him in the championship 4, and it was a must win. He had to win. He couldn't point his way in. Well, he won, and there's a pretty good shot he's going to win a championship. That's a pretty good audition for another truck team to pick him up.
We have our first twit. Hello. Love and Life Lisa has questions.
Uh-oh.
Off of Twitch. Hey.
I can't tell you that. I can't tell you my size. My wife might get mad.
Jesus.
She doesn't want to give up that 3 inches.
Oh, look at this. Which guy wears bald the best?
I do, because normally I shave my head, and I'm like Mr. Clean. I got the sweet 70s, chops going on. I've been very poor about my grooming lately and haven't shaved.
It's not our fault that we are all physically challenged, okay? We just can't help it.
The correct answer is we all do.
There you go.
There you go.
Look at Zolt being diplomatic.
I don't want anybody to get offended when I say I do, because we all know I do. But regardless, we all do.
See, this is why I show up on Mondays. I need my weekly affirmation from Zolt, because then he's like my Stuart Smalley. You're good enough. You're smart enough.
Well, hold on. Some people's situations are a little different.
Listen, yes. However, we're not gonna get. It's 8:00. We're not getting into that right now. We have to save that for the 9:00 hour.
We haven't crossed the 9:00
You
hour.
want to go back to the Patreon show, Dave?
What's that?
Happily so.
The
Happily.
show.
Yeah, just because we have friends doesn't mean anything. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting going into Phoenix this week. What's going to happen? Because all four championship cars are going to start up front, and I don't think Larson's going to win the championship.
I was thinking it should, as much as you're like, yeah, not a chance, but Truex could.
No, fuck you.
I know it's not the popular pick. I know
there was only one race this season where George was like, "Hey, these are my picks. What do you think?" Where I said, "Hey, don't take Truex," and Truex ended up doing good. Most of them, when he's like, "I'm gonna take Truex," I'm like, "Don't do it. Stay away from him." And then he'd end up like 23rd and out of the race.
No, I honestly, as much as to the dismay of a lot of people, I honestly think Hamlin's going to get it.
I don't think it's going to be Hamlin either. I think Chase is going to repeat.
Ugh. which would be so bad for Larson considering how he dominated all year and to walk away without a chip.
It's not going to be for lack of effort or lack of trying. But Larson had 2 speeding penalties yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's had 6 all season. You know where 3 of them came from? Phoenix in the spring race.
Yeah.
It's another Martinsville. It's a long pit road with short segments on the pit road with the timing lines. Part of his problem yesterday was he had the number 1 pit stall, and he would gun it to get out of there, and it's that short 60 to 80 foot timing segment, and he'd be going too fast. That's why he got the 2 yesterday. I mean, if I'm Larson all week, that's what I'm working on is pit road exit and entry in the simulator, in the shop, just keeping it. I mean, because there's ways to simulate that. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I would love to see Larson win it. I would love to see Larson win it, and I would love to see Denny Hamlin end up in a heap afterward. Just the other thing, though, is I wonder how much of a vendetta guys like Kyle Busch, who aren't racing for the championship,
And
you got
Brad.
Alex, and Brad. I think Brad's going to race clean. I think Brad's going to try to win the race and just go out with a.
I didn't know Kyle would try to retaliate on him.
Kyle might. I think he might, but I think Denny might try to retaliate on Alex Bowman.
And risk losing the championship?
I think so.
Wow, we lose George.
All right.
We'll
say
now
just keep going.
Just keep going. But we could. I mean, you look at everything that happened during the playoffs and happened yesterday. I could see at some point Hamlin behind Bowman and knocking Bowman sideways in a turn and hitting him into Chase or Kyle.
Ripple effect.
Alrighty.
All right, we're done with that. Let's talk hockey. What about the Blackhawks? Is it bad?
Yes, they're continuing on from the fallout. In a very ugly fallout too.
This is the Patrick Kane stuff, right?
No.
No, this
The
is
sexual assault stuff, right?
Assault,
Yes.
right. Aldrich. Yes. $2 million fine for the Blackhawks. The GM, Bowman, of course, stepping down. Senior director McIsaac was let
See,
go
I knew
on
nothing
Tuesday.
about this.
And the Panthers coach
Fired Quenville.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Actually also resigned Thursday because he was the coach of the Blackhawks at the time it happened.
Okay, so somebody fill me in on the Cliff Notes because I've not heard about this. I only knew about the Patrick Kane stuff.
Okay. So 2010, it was during the playoffs. Chicago had beaten Vancouver and was going to the Western Conference Finals against San Jose. They had 4 days off in between. It's come out since that 2 players at the time accused the video coach, Brad Aldrich, of Cliff Notes, getting them drunk and attempting to sexually assault them.
So I'm assuming Aldridge is a gay man.
Sure, we'll go that
More
way.
than likely.
They reported it, and specifically reported it to the skills coach, Paul Vincent, who's a former law enforcement agent, who flat out said, "Yep, we're going to take this to the front office, and this is definitely one of their things." And according to Vincent, who hasn't commented much because there is ongoing litigation, he has confirmed the fact that yes, that conversation took place, and yes, he referred it up to the front office, and reportedly told the front office, "You need to report this to the police." From that point forward, nothing happened.
So the Blackhawks just swept it under the rug.
Yep. Not only did it get swept under the rug, I mean, they ended up winning the cup, and the guys out there on the ice celebrating with the team.
It's to
They
the point that they want his name scratched off.
Yeah, yes. At this point,
I saw
they've
that.
requested to have his name removed from the cup.
How do you go about doing that?
I don't know.
Actually, they said there's only one person's name who actually was removed. That was one of the trivia questions. There was just the one gentleman's name was removed from, has been etched off.
Here's where it really starts to get sticky, if that's not bad enough.
It gets worse.
He left the team in the off season for undisclosed reasons. The reason apparently he would give to potential employers was that he was just tired of the NHL grind. He got hired, or he joined the coaching staff. He was a volunteer assistant coach of a boys high school team in Houghton, Michigan. December 2013, pleaded guilty to charges of criminal sexual conduct with a teenager, sentenced to 9 months in Houghton. Now, lawsuit was filed against Chicago Blackhawks because reportedly they gave positive references to this high school for him.
How? Why?
That's the question, isn't it? He also, in 2012, Aldrich he had a position at Miami, Ohio University, I'm assuming with the hockey team, which he abruptly left after 4 months, and nobody really knows why. It is a really sad situation that the team just decided to ignore what happened.
Is that on the level of Michigan State and Nassar?
I mean Nassar, if I remember
it's not the
right,
number of victims.
Yeah, that is dozens, if not hundreds. So I mean, it's not good.
But I'm talking the level of cover up and the level of. There had been reports and allegations against him for years that were covered up by Michigan State or the NCAA didn't follow up on. So to me, that speaks to a bigger problem, though, is if the Blackhawks covered it up and gave him a positive reference. Is that the tip of the iceberg? Is there more of this going on in the NHL where now we're going to get some sort of federal involvement going, you guys need to open up your books and we need to see what kind of predators you may be harboring?
Yeah, I mean, the problem is, as far as cover-ups go, is it's real. I mean, people that cover things up tend to do so pretty thoroughly. So unless you've got people that are actually willing to talk, it can get kind of difficult trying to figure out.
But then how did this get out? If it stayed quiet for a decade,
the players knew.
Yeah, and that's.
But then why didn't the players talk earlier?
They took it to the front office, like they're supposed to do. See, the thing is, when Aldrich leaves the team, it's not like he's in the NHL somewhere else. It's not like he's it's not like, oh, we just ran across him when we went, to play, Vancouver. No, he was gone. They never saw him again. I mean, until they realized that he's out there preying on other people.
No, but you used the Catholic Church excuse. You moved the priest. That's all you did.
Yeah.
You moved him.
Well, you made him somebody else's problem, and not only did you make him somebody else's problem, you helped him get there.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the thing.
It's it's similar. Basically, of course, the NHL is coming out and saying this is going to be the wake up call for anybody and everybody. Watch your butts, because it's gonna get worse.
And to be fair, you shouldn't need a wake up call for this, but
Right.
you're right. I'm going to read this quote. Unnamed 2010 Blackhawks player who literally at first didn't believe that, he was out there with us during the celebration. So they Googled the official team photo that was taken, and he's right there in the team photo on the ice with the cup. And his quote was, "That doesn't bother me that they let him take pictures with the cup. What bothers me is they fired him, but they didn't take it to the cops. They let him get a job with an under 18 team. They let him go work with minors. They let this happen."
How much financial responsibility do you have for that, though?
I don't know.
I'm not trying. I'm not trying to defend the Blackhawks.
No. I get what you're saying. It's like, I don't know.
Because it would seem to me that if he did it with the Blackhawks, then he did it before the Blackhawks too. And so where does the burden of responsibility fall? Does it fall on the Blackhawks? Like the Hoban, I'm pronouncing it Hoban, right? Michigan.
I'm sorry?
Hoban? It's Hoban, Michigan, right?
Houghton.
Houghton. I thought you said Hoban. So the Houghton, Michigan thing is all on the Blackhawks. Because they fired him, they allowed that, they facilitated that. But what responsibility goes previous to the Blackhawks? Because there's somewhere along the line where he did something to somebody else that just got passed on. Giants just intercepted Mahomes in the end zone.
Fantastic.
That's good.
Apparently, it took my wife by surprise.
Yeah, apparently there's currently two.
It doinked right off the dude's helmet. It doinked right off of McNamara's face mask and into the air.
There are two ongoing lawsuits against the Blackhawks in reference to this.
Well, here's something interesting. Is saying that Brad Aldrich joined USA Hockey as a video coach 5 months after leaving the Blackhawks.
Yeah, and no, because listen, my 8-year-old son plays for USA Hockey, and there are thousands upon thousands of youth that play for USA Hockey, and you can't.
So the second lawsuit, blah, 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 alleges that the NHL club failed to properly respond and investigate allegations of sexual assault against Aldrich, subsequently provided, here's the quote, positive references to future employees for Aldrich as a hockey coach, despite having knowledge of his sexual assault, and failed to report Aldrich to any hockey or coaching organizations of oversight.
Well, whoever brought that lawsuit's going to win.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of those Captain Obvious.
But that goes back to my previous question. Why now? Why
right.
in 2021? If this happened in 2010,
I believe it's come up because these lawsuits were not filed. I don't know why the lawsuits weren't filed previously.
And they said that it was an independent investigation that has confirmed everything, which when you have an independent investigation, they can take forever.
I understand, but
yeah,
you're talking about, well, like, so there's a documentary on Netflix that goes over the USA Gymnastics thing and all of the stuff with Nasser, and that That stuff had been reported for at least a decade before somebody finally took him serious. And there was, I think the final count of indictments that he got convicted on was something like 243.
I mean, like I said, we know that this has become more and more, unfortunately, a mainstay in sports. And for it to rear its ugly head in the NHL, you know, it's like how far. Right now, we're sitting there going, okay, it's getting addressed in the NHL, but how far down will that enforcement get to? I mean, especially like you were saying, something at the youth level,
That's my problem. So Zolt, you've youth coached before, correct?
I have merely played as a youth.
Okay, George, you've coached, right? Didn't you help coach Bryce's T-ball team?
Yeah, I've coached. I coached almost 27 years with the Y in
I know
multiple
Sean.
sports.
I know Sean coached. I don't know if Adam's coached or not.
Not yet.
But so I guess my problem is that as a parent, my children play sports, right? And I am entrusting not only the organization that they play for, whatever youth organization it is, whether it's a school function or it's privatized sports like the boy playing hockey for, the USA and the Cleveland Sharks. I'm entrusting that organization to do their due diligence with the people that they put in charge of my children so that my children are going to be safe, whether they go out of state or travel for a tournament or whatever it is. This happened in the NHL. The Blackhawks then gave him a positive reference, and the dude went and coached high school kids and put them in danger. At what point does mob mentality take over and people start really? I mean, there are far too many instances of bad coaches in both male and female sports, male and female coaches taking advantage of youth players, sexually or otherwise. And it's enough is enough. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. A lot of these, for example, with the Y, you have to turn around and submit for a background check. You have to, or you. I mean, as far as any coach, you have to go through a background check. LEYFL, you have to go through a background check. Some of them are background checks and fingerprint. So they're, depending on the organizations, they go through a thorough ordeal because they do not want issues like this popping its ugly head in their organizations and with their teams and kids.
It's just it's one of those things where I don't understand. Like, I get it doing the background checks and being thorough with it, but if this guy was able to get to the Blackhawks and then further down the road without it being reported, then the background checks aren't doing their job because it's not working.
Well, and we don't know what else, had or had not occurred, prior to this. But like you said, why did it take so long? I mean, yeah, an independent investigation, you're literally sitting there telling us it took 11 years to turn around and come up with this? No.
The lawsuit, the first lawsuit, was filed by the two players who were sexually
When was
assaulted.
it filed, though?
A month or two ago. I don't know what they were waiting for.
That's my point.
Statute obviously has not run out, unless, of course, they were waiting on everybody in that front office to be gone.
But are they?
I don't know.
I'm kind of baffled by the whole thing.
Yeah, well, it's almost it's almost like this Deshaun Watson ordeal. Let's take a look at that. You literally have 22 separate cases that are up against him here, and what's going on? It's like people are just waiting. It's like, what are we waiting for?
I know it sounds like I'm victim blaming, and I understand that, and believe me, I'm not. I'm not trying to victim blame at all, because sexual assault, especially male on male sexual assault, is a highly underreported crime. Happens far more than it is reported. However, you're talking two adult men of legal age in 2010 playing a professional sport at a championship level and winning a championship, and waiting until 2021, a decade later, to file a lawsuit. If the offense was that egregious and you haven't heard anything from the NHL in, say, 3 months, why aren't you following up then in 2010 and 2011? That would be that's my question, is that why you were the victim of this. Why wait and not make sure you're pushing the mechanism along so that you get justice for what happened to you?
And the other thing that one of the articles had said was that Breach was still a prospect at the time when this happened. So that's different than full-fledged you're on the roster.
And I'm not going to try to get in his head. I'm not going to try to do that. But at the same time, you're playing for a team and not just the organization. You're playing for the guys around you. Do you really want to destroy all that? As far as you know, the guy that was the problem is now gone. You don't know where he ended up.
And that's part of the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's part of the problem. You don't know where he ended up.
And that's on the organization. They're the ones that just let him go without saying a word about why. They're the ones that reportedly gave him good references.
It's the Catholic Church defense.
That is unconscionable.
I agree. I'm angry for them. Like, I know they're angry. They wouldn't have filed the lawsuit if they weren't. But I'm angry for them because this should, like, from the littlest of youth sports to the senior players on the PGA, this shouldn't happen. Stuff like this should not happen. I mean, we had a once-in-a-generation talent in Gabby Douglas. Not Gabby Douglas. Simone Biles drop out of the Olympics this summer because of not only the pressure of what the country put on her, but the whole Nasser thing had just ended a year ago, and she was still getting questions about it and pressured about it. Like, that kind of stuff should not happen at all.
I'm gonna read what Beach said about the incident. This quote, talking back about when it happened, it's like, I was scared mostly. I was fearful. I had my career threatened. I felt alone and dark. I think mostly I felt like I was alone and there was nothing I could do and nobody I could turn to for help. And I didn't know what to do. As a 20-year-old, I would never dream of. You could never imagine being put in this situation by somebody that's supposed to be there to help you.
You're fading, man. I can't hear you.
I did what I thought I had to do to survive, continue chasing my dream, and that was to not think about it, not talk about it, to ignore it, and that's all I could do because I was threatened and my career was on the line.
Well, that quote right there leads to a larger topic of discussion. A larger topic of discussion. We all played youth sports. How many times do you have your starting position held over your head for a misstep on the field, on or off the field? You know what I mean? Well, you do this wrong, you'll never play again. You can't be doing that. Especially not when sexual assault comes into play.
Right.
And if it was the organization that threatened him, oh, that leads down a whole other path.
Well, and that's where the whole Dan Snyder situation is getting into with Washington. And I'm sorry, you made the Carolina Panthers owner go, get out. Dan Snyder's next. He's next. That this whole little ordeal isn't going away. I mean,
you mean the Florida Panthers?
What's that?
You said Carolina Panthers.
No, Carolina Panthers. Yes, the football team.
Who'd they say it to?
The owner.
Peppers.
It was 3 years ago. Sexual misconduct. Had to sell the team. Dan Schneider is next. Dan Schneider's next with the cover-up for the Washington football team investigation. And that's why it's kind of like some people have said, oh, yeah, it's kind of getting a little buried because the whole John Gruden thing came out of all these emails. And it's, being the little, diversionary tactic, Don't look at the man behind the curtain. Look over there.
Yeah.
People aren't
No.
looking over there. They're keeping their eye out right where it needs to be. And Dan Schneider is next.
If somebody thought that was a diversionary tactic, all you did was draw attention to the fact that there's a whole lot of stuff in there that nobody's heard.
Bingo. And everybody wants those emails. And just kind of like the Brady or the New England Patriot filming of the Super Bowl practices tapes disappeared.
Well, that started with the Jets, too.
Guess what? It's going to be on like Donkey Kong. The NFL could turn around and literally implode on itself. This could be very ugly.
It's not going to happen. Having an NFL franchise is a license to print money, and there's too many good old boys that are going to step up and they're going to protect Dan Snyder.
No, Jerry Jones has been very standoffish on the ordeal because.
Oh, really? You would think that Jerry Jones, yeah.
Jerry Jones is the one who loves press, whether it be good or
because let's open up Jerry Jones's closet and see how many cemeteries full of skeletons fall out of that thing.
One day later, Halloween.
I'm serious.
Fun. Yeah. No.
I mean that dude.
I agree. I mean, like you said, but this is going to get ugly, and it's going to be another issue of, hey, sorry, but Danny boy, you're out.
He'll sell the team before that. He won't be forced
that's
to sell.
Exactly it. He will sell the team.
But he's not going to get the NFL
Goodell,
is not going to.
Goodell has already told him the best thing you can do is not show up to the office.
Here's the thing with Dan Snyder.
And Dan Snyder has not been seen nor heard from since.
Yeah, the problem that Goodell knows about Dan Snyder is Dan Snyder, if he is forced to do anything with that team, he will take as many people down with him as he possibly can.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So Dan Snyder will sell the team, but you're not going to force him to. You can't force him to.
Exactly.
First of all, do you remember the giant mess hold on. Do you remember the giant mess the NBA got into when they forced the Clippers to sell?
Right. because it is. But the NFL, it's always been about protecting the shield, and if you violate that code of conduct, even as an owner,
I
you're out.
I don't care because it's a license to print money.
I mean,
Having
what
that
That's what
having
the
that
Carolina
shield.
Panthers owner thought too. And guess
Dan
what?
Snyder will litigate that to the end of the earth, and he will bring out everything he knows.
He will bring
He
out
will
anything
destroy
and everything.
everybody, including
Yep.
Goodell,
Yeah.
because
Oh,
Goodell knows
absolutely.
everything, and he hasn't
Mhm.
said a word.
Like I said, this will turn around. This will make the NFL implode.
It's not going to. The NFL's not going anywhere. The
No,
NFL's
the,
not going
the
anywhere.
NFL's not. It's not going to.
It's not.
It'll still be around. And this
Right.
might be a thing that actually takes Goodell down. We've been waiting for that forever, but
Yep.
I don't think that's going to happen either.
Well,
I don't think one goes without the other.
that's right. I agree.
Because Goodell knows everything. They had
I-
the investigation. They had the report.
I think there's a triumvirate. There's three. There's Goodell, there's Jones, and Snyder.
Thing is, Jerry Jones has always been his own guy. I mean, he doesn't get into the cliques. He's always been, I'm going to do what is best for my team, and I don't care if you all hate me for it.
Yeah, it's just like Robert Kraft. Robert Kraft got
Listen.
busted for the massage parlor deal, and it's like, hey, he had to turn around and he took his lump beating on that one.
He made his mea culpa. He was getting a handy in a massage parlor. That's nothing.
Right. It
On the
is
grand
different
scheme of
than
things.
this.
But you're telling me that the '90s Cowboys with Smith and Cocaine Irvin and those guys didn't get into trouble with the Dallas PD? You're telling me that there isn't probably a filing cabinet full of reports and things that got swept under the rug because the Cowboys were winning Super Bowls and were the toast of the town, and Jerry Jones threw out some money to people to buy buildings and new uniforms?
I have no doubt that there is. The issue here is that the NFL did a report and have bits and pieces have actually leaked out. That's the biggest issue. Because now once you start poking holes and letting little bits out, all it does is make people want more. And yeah, I mean, that was obviously somebody's vendetta against John Gruden. Good riddance. But still, the fact that some came out means more can come out. And the more that comes out, eventually it's just going to flood. I mean, you knew it was bad when that quote unquote report was finished. And Goodell was asked about it. And, well, we didn't have a handwritten report. It was given to us verbally by the lead investigator. What?
Yeah.
What? Really? You didn't have them actually physically type something up? Oh no, it was given to us.
Which report? I'm sorry.
This was the investigation into the Washington football team and the
Okay, I got
sexual
you.
harassment.
Gotcha. Sorry.
Everything.
They just played the trailer for the Boba Fett series and I spaced because I got all excited. But yes, I'm sorry. Star Wars.
That's for the Three Geeks Network.
But so like
we don't broadcast over there.
But
that's last night's show.
That's my everyday life. I mean, I'm wearing a Harry Potter T-shirt at the moment.
Touche.
But so, like, I don't think you're gonna get like Dan Snyder will sell a team. They'll rebrand the team. They'll rename the team. He'll sell the team, and he'll probably sell it for $2.5-3 billion. And then you'll never hear from Dan Snyder again.
God willing.
Right.
But if they choose to try to make an example out of him, there's going to be a number of owners that go. And I can agree with Zolt on that Goodell will go with him.
No, I'm not disagreeing with that. not by a large margin.
I think Belichick will go too. Not because Belichick has done anything wrong as far as sexual assault or any of that things, but Goodell knows where the Patriots' bodies are buried. And you don't think that people aren't poking holes and leaking bits of information about the
Yeah, but
Redskins.
as far as all that goes, like I said, Goodell hit the erase button on the tapes. You know that he covered for the Brady footballs. I mean,
I understand that, but
but the thing is it's just, ooh, if somebody came out and said, yeah, it's confirmed, everybody's going, yeah, and what are you gonna do?
it's not going to
not
be
like it's the NCAA where you're gonna take the Super Bowl rings away from them.
it's not going to be a yeah and it's going to be, well, Belichick needs to go. He's going to be made an example of too. And I know that's a far extreme example to go from sexual assault to leaky footballs, but the point being, if Dan Snyder wants to fight this, and they choose to make an example of him, it's going the tentacles that have gone out from that NFL office that stretch through all 32 franchises are going to get exposed, and there's going to be a bunch of collateral damage. I guess is my point.
It's a small implosion. It will.
The question. Here's the thing: we know Dan Snyder is that special kind of asshole that'll try to take everybody down with him.
Mm-hmm.
We know this just from things he's done in the past. Goodell actually has something to lose. So, what if it came down to that point where they were going to try to force Goodell out? It would be a thing where it's like, okay, you go and you're getting your pension, you're getting the rest of your contract, but we need you to leave. And he would just go because he's got a lot of money to lose.
Okay, who's the next commissioner though?
I don't know. Next yes man, who knows? Bill Belichick. Here we go. Bring him on. I'm sure everything would be on the up and up.
What about Maurice Smith?
Do you mean the NFLPA guy?
Yeah, because you're going to have to listen when you have if you in football you have the players coach and then you have the football coach, right?
Yeah.
And anytime you fire a hard-nosed, you're going to do it my way coach, everybody always brings in the players coach next. And we can all agree that Goodell is that hard-nosed, you're going to do it my way coach, right? If you're trying to create some type of cohesion within the league, wouldn't you want to bring in somebody that can empathize with the players and empathize?
No. The owners don't, and the owners are the ones who hire the commissioner. The owners want somebody that fights for them.
And it's just doing a quick little snoop. They got a quick article here saying that Troy Vincent would make the next NFL commissioner.
I can see that.
That'd be a very interesting choice. I'm saying in a good way. I mean, especially, that is actually one of not only Doug, really, no. Yeah, the commissioner of a golf course, hole 19.
Doug's just trying to get him off his TV.
Yeah. Being that Troy would actually be the first, not just the first black commissioner, but also first player. So he actually knows.
Well, see, there's somebody who empathizes with the players.
I mean, and that would be the first player to hold that position. And that's definitely something different. I mean, how much does that office change having a former player in that?
That's my point.
Yeah.
Somebody like Maurice Smith or a way out there name, because I think he'd be good at it. I don't think he'd ever do it, but I think he'd be good at it, is Peyton Manning.
Well, I mean,
Actually, that is also another name that is on a list here.
I mean, the NFL currently has an executive committee. I mean, it would be one of them would naturally assume the role of commissioner. Troy Vincent is on there. He's the executive VP of football operations.
And as I think it very well could be Troy.
I mean, I don't think he'd ever do it, but like I said, I think Peyton Manning would be really good at it. He's diplomatic. He's personable. It's not like he doesn't know the game or know what goes into, you know what I mean?
Very true.
What you can't have this doing is turning into another Clippers incident just in a different sport. Because it is very quickly approaching that.
That's also, yes, and that's a very dangerous situation to be in. All right, with that being said, let's turn around and take our break here before we get into the review of college football from the weekend and the NFL from the weekend and getting into our picks. So turn around and take our quick break here, and we'll be back in 2:45.
I was walking around with my hound one day. She come along with a poodle and it started to play. Hot dog, hot dog, hot dog, ooh, hot dog. I said, honey, all puppies are drawing attention. She said, come on inside, I'll show you the whole collection. Hot dog, yeah, hot dog, hot dog, ooh, hot dog. With this woman child, she dealt me three of a kind, and every one of them wild. Hot dog, hot dog, yeah, hot dog, ooh, hot dog. She said, let's spin the bottle, and we spun it mightily. When the spunner got to spinning, it was pointed at me. Hot dog, hot dog, hot dog. I think I'm getting lucky. Hot dog, I might be getting me some. She had an nymphomaniac sister. Hot dog, hot dog, hot dog, ooh, hot dog. We went out for ice cream, and I said, honey, I'm down to my stick. She said, my mouth is so dry, I wish I had something to lick. Hot dog, hot dog, hot dog. Hot dog, oh, hot dog, ooh, hot dog, hot dog. I might be getting lucky. It's hot.
And we're back. Thanks, Mike Stanley, of course, as always, for letting us use that jam.
Hey, any of you guys want an 8-year-old who plays hockey, is partially potty trained, and a general sweetheart?
No.
My kid just looked at the television and goes, I want the Chiefs to win. No. Get out.
I didn't know.
I was going to say, you picked the Chiefs. Sean was the only one who took the Giants.
Well, it's tied 7-7. Giants just tied it up.
Here is a very scary factoid that I actually because when I saw the article, I was like, all right, I need to copy and paste this, and I actually sent it to myself in regards to said issue with one Mr. Patrick Mahomes. Through 7 weeks, Mahomes is the least blitzed quarterback in football. Defenses are dropping 7+ men into coverage, as the Bucs so often did in last season's Super Bowl, on roughly 87% of plays against the Chiefs. That's up to around 77% a year ago. It's above the league average, and it has become something of a blueprint. And I ask you, gents, is this now, as it stated, the book is out on what to do against Mahomes?
The Browns did it last year in the second round playoff game,
and they just about damn near had it right off the get-go this year in this kickoff of the season. It's like the Browns literally 3 years ago gave you the Baltimore Ravens out on the platter and went, hey, here you go. This is how you do this. You know,
Here's
Lamar
the thing.
Jackson, Kyler Murray.
Well, here's the thing. So they gave you the book on Lamar Jackson, and they gave you the book on They helped give you the book on Patrick Mahomes. When it comes to the rest of the league following suit, they did, except there's one thing that separates Lamar and Patrick Mahomes. And don't get me wrong, they're both great quarterbacks in their own right. But they took Lamar's weapon in the run, and Lamar went, okay, I'll step up in the pocket and pass. And while he wasn't great at it at first, he's adapted and learned and gotten better. One of the things that made Mahomes so great initially was his ability to scramble and make something from nothing. And when you're dropping 7 and 8 guys into coverage, and now you have nothing to go on, Mahomes he doesn't have that great field vision to run like Lamar does. He's got a great arm, absolutely phenomenal arm, but to me, he doesn't have that to be able to look and see where the hole is gonna be and get there before the defender can get there.
I'm gonna put it another way. Mahomes is impatient, and he hates checking down.
Okay.
He does not like dink and dunk at all.
Thank you for being so succinct where I was verbose.
He wants the throw, and he wants to throw downfield. And if his number one is not open, maybe he looks at number 2, maybe he doesn't, and maybe he just tries to run. But he can't run because they're not letting him.
And Kelsey's sitting, Kelsey is always his short. Sorry, Kels. That's right. Keep forgetting about that. He is his short dink and dunk guy, though. But like you said, you're dropping 7 back instead. He's amongst the fence, and you can't see him through the fence. What I know he is missing, he needs a running back out of the backfield that can catch the ball, that can be there for that short yardage gain.
They had that. They cut him, and now he plays for the Browns.
Well, no, he actually played for Detroit, and that kind of sucked. And the other one is on IR.
No,
I was gonna say, is Edwards-Helaire coming back an answer?
Maybe, but Mahomes had that running back out of the backfield that could get out on the flat and get open in Kareem Hunt, and now he plays in Cleveland.
Well, fair enough, but last year they actually even had Bell. They had running backs. There's no running threat right now. That's a big problem. There is no running back threat.
Although to
And
be
you
fair,
literally
it's not
made
the first
Kansas
time that's
City
ever
play.
happened.
It's that.
It's not the first time that's ever happened for the Chiefs that they've not had any kind of a running threat. But yeah, I like I said, the book seems to be out on Mahomes right now. But at the same time, again, the book was out on Lamar, and he rewrote the book. You don't do that mid-season. That's the thing. So I'm curious. Number one, what's going to stem the tide, and getting Edwards-Helaire back might help. It might not, but I think they might actually need an off season to retool.
I
Well,
think
the
that they're a
defense,
wild
the
card
defense
team.
is total garbage.
No, the
They
defense
did-
is
They
horrific.
still have done nothing to fix that defense, and they've had 2 years to try to fix the defense.
You're
I've done
talking
nothing.
about Kansas City. You're in the heart of Big 12 country with a Big 12 quarterback. That's the style of football that they play. Like, that's what Andy Reid brought, a Big 12 style offense to the NFL, and it worked until it didn't work anymore.
And now he's finding out he needs defense.
Well, I wish
You
somebody would
can't
tell
play the
Texas
greatest
that.
show on turf forever.
I wish somebody would tell the University of Texas that, because that might make my Saturdays a little bit more bearable. Adam's been quiet. Sorry.
I don't get into the whole politic things of the NFL side. That's why I just stayed out of that shit because I don't know nothing about it to even comment.
He's worried about being interrupted by a train.
That too.
I'm just loud and opinionated, so I mean that's pretty much
Since
it.
I've been quiet, there hasn't been a train though.
And
You
not for a
gotta
little
go and
while.
say things. I mean, what?
Vote.
Well,
We all know you
I
can't just
didn't-
go and talking about the train because
Yeah.
that shit
Now,
comes back to you.
we know. We're going to give it a few minutes. It's coming. We do need to dwell on the Michigan State fallout.
I love how he waits till the Michigan gets their first loss to start finally bringing up college football on the show. He didn't want to talk about it.
It's fine.
I
We're still
said
in the top 10.
I
That's what
said-
matters.
all I said was wait until week 6 or 7 until they actually played somebody.
How far they fall.
Everybody. I mean, not just OSU, but everybody. I mean, it was like nobody has really played anybody. This was the first test for both teams. Michigan looked like they were going to run away with it.
They should have.
I mean,
There,
all I know is I saw a green flash go across my screen at the bowling alley. I went, "Who the hell is that?"
I tell you what, to me, as a non-Michigan State and non-Michigan fan, what I thought Michigan's Achilles heel in that game was, it was the playing of the two quarterbacks. Because when McCarthy got in there, that kid looked lost. He made errant throws. He had 2 fumbles on back-to-back drives in the fourth quarter when you need somebody that is going to hold it down. And, when McNamara was in there,
Well, that's the thing. McNamara finally, everybody's been bitching for weeks that he's not our quarterback. We need to go to JJ. Cade comes out and has the game of his fucking life. And then you keep bringing in McCarthy and you keep ruining his fucking mojo. And therefore, guess what? He gets out of sync. You get him out of sync, he can't do shit to move the ball downfield, and then hence all the bullshit happened that happened.
And whose fault is that?
Hardball, khaki pants is dumbass.
Khaki, yeah.
the other thing is they had that drive late where they ended up with the field goal. Late.
Probably tired of kicking field goals. I said you got to score touchdowns. You can't kick field goals on the
So there was like 12 minutes left in the fourth, and they started driving, and they're throwing the ball out into the flat. They're mid-range throws, and they're moving it quick. And I'm thinking, why don't you line up with 2 and 3 tight ends and just shove the ball down the field and burn clock? Because Walker had been running all over you all game, and if you keep it out of his hands,
you win.
Even if you even if you get a field goal, right, and you're up 3, even if you get a field goal, but if you have a 7 to 8 minute drive that results in 3, yeah, I know you want a touchdown, but you result in 3, you put points on the board, that leaves them 4 minutes, and you still have all your timeouts.
Well, the problem with Harbaugh is the fact that he can't do a drive that sustains clock time if he feels that his running game's not doing what he wants it to do, which they really didn't. I mean, they shut down both of our running backs, which I don't know why we didn't see more of Haskins. We seem to see more of Corum than Haskins, and there wasn't a lot of. Should have been both of them like they've been doing, give them even amount of reps. But the thing is Harbaugh panicked because he wasn't getting any rushing yards, so he felt he had to dink and dunk and pass. And when you start passing like that, things happen, and you can't do the long drives like you want.
By that point in the game, it was visibly pouring. Visibly pouring.
Which means run the fucking ball.
Which means not only run the fucking ball, but throw it. Okay, so you're not getting the yardage that you want. Put your running back out on the flat and see if the defense bites. And if they bite a couple of times, I know you can disguise a couple of running plays with somebody out on the flat, like you're going to throw it and then just try to cut it to the outside or cut it up the middle.
They did that one time with Corum up on the left side of the flat, and he fucking went to turn and run and dropped it. He had an easy fucking touchdown, and he dropped it.
Earlier in the game.
Right. They should have ran that play. Like, even I think fucking Joel Klatt even said it. Run that play again. He goes, it worked. He goes,
yes.
He didn't catch it. He goes, but you could do that play again. He goes, he was wide open with nothing but real estate in front of him.
Exactly. Like
I think my biggest problem with this game that irked the shit out of me was the fact that good and goddamn well they're running the hurry up offense. Why the fuck are you trying to substitute? You got burned 5 times on that fucking shit. If they're not substituting, then neither are you. Tell your boys to suck up and play. That's what they're here for.
How about I have your answer. Your answer is because somebody wearing khaki pants is going to play his game no matter what's actually happening out there.
Why do you have a defensive coordinator?
I don't know.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And it seemed like McDonald, that was like I understand his first test, but like, you're supposed to be an NFL fucking defensive coordinator or whatever, secondaries coach, whatever you were. You couldn't make adjustments on the fly. You felt like I fucking Joe Woods out there fucking for Michigan.
Well, I think that goes that thing leads into what I was going to say later is that the Penn State Ohio State game from later in the evening. Warning bells need to be going off in Columbus.
Oh, absolutely.
No, but the thing is they're not.
They need to be.
Oh, they have to be.
They
have to be.
You have no defense.
Right.
None. The vaunted Buckeyes defense of the last 10 years isn't there. It's not.
Right.
And
they're trying to play the greatest show on turf is what they're trying to do. And against Oregon, it bit him in the ass. It almost bit him in the ass against Penn State.
I think it bit him in the ass more than you think against Penn State. You're talking about a one-loss Buckeye team where one more, and they're done. It doesn't matter if they win the Big Ten. They're done.
Oh no, I fully after watching the Michigan State, you totally know that they're going to run. They are going to run all day long on the Buckeyes, and the Buckeyes will have no answer.
See, here's so I think the Buckeyes are a 2-loss team. I really do. But
I'm not
there's always that one game. It's been Purdue the past few years, but there's always that.
Michigan State plays this week.
I was just saying Purdue against Ohio State is the week after.
But there's always that one game where they come out. It was Iowa a couple of years ago.
Yep.
Where you're like, did you change jerseys with our Sisters of the Poor before the game? Like, what happened?
Jesus Christ, Mahomes picked off again.
You brought up Michigan State running all over them. Is there a team that Michigan State won't run all over? Because that kid is a beast.
Alabama.
Georgia.
Well, like we were, for our chat, we actually even said Georgia, Cincinnati, Michigan State, and Oklahoma is the four
Are the four right now?
There's a dude that had Ohio State at three.
That's the four that we said that should be the final four.
I don't think it. Sorry,
I was sorry. I'm actually going to go off on a tangent. So you go ahead and make your point.
I don't think that Oklahoma is going to be there at the end of the year. Because Oklahoma always has one or two of those games towards the end of the season. Being a Texas fan, I have to pay attention to Oklahoma, and they generally tend to have one. And they had Bedlam this weekend that they won. You know what I mean? And that's usually a later in the season game, but they won. So, but no, they didn't play Oklahoma State this weekend.
No, they play them last.
Yeah,
they have Baylor,
that's what I thought.
Baylor next on the 13th. Then they have Iowa State on the 20th, and then Oklahoma State on the 27th.
It was either last year or the year before Iowa State beat them. And Iowa State's one of those. Iowa State's one of those teams that it's like a Purdue. They're just kind of middle of the road, and all of a sudden they run off a big one against a team that you don't expect them to. But with Oklahoma, they're bound to drop one. You know, they between Iowa State and between Oklahoma State, that Bedlam game is one that you can do a coin flip on. But I don't think Oklahoma's going to be there at the end.
I think Baylor will beat them.
Baylor might. Baylor whooped up on Texas pretty hard.
I was going to say, and looking back, I mean, Tulane 35 up on them, and they scored 40. I mean, you almost lost to West Virginia. That was a 16-13.
That was a damn good game. I remember watching that one.
But West Virginia knows how to play defense.
You know, that's pretty damn close.
They just beat Iowa State or something over the weekend, didn't they?
Yes. I think you can see a Pac-12 team in there. Maybe. Not that it will happen, but it's a possibility.
Is that Frank Gore's kid that plays for the Chiefs, Derek Gore?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I never heard that name before, and I'm like, you see Gore, it's got to be related.
But he runs like his dad, too.
The thing that urged me, though, is just seeing some of these people that are trying to predict what's going to happen tomorrow night. I don't get the obsession with Ohio State. Yes, I get they travel well and they play well, but I'm so sick and tired of the Alabamas and the Clemsons and the fucking Oklahomas always. Let's get some new blood in there this year.
I think Cincinnati is going to be there. I really do.
I hope they do, to be honest with you. But go ahead, Zolt. Your time for your tangent now.
I'm taking it back to Michigan State, and we brought up Purdue, who they play this week. Taking it back into my wheelhouse. Anybody want to guess what the spread on that game is?
21.
The spread?
Mm-hmm. I'll give you this. Michigan State's favored.
Okay, but I'm gonna go high 40s, low 50s.
2.5.
Oh, the spread. I thought.
Spread?
Yeah.
You said the spread's 2.5. I was thinking
Michigan
over
State
under.
By 2.5.
Wow.
Whoa.
Check.
Sign me up, right?
Okay.
Wow.
What's the over under?
I honestly, I'd have to.
See, I thought my brain went with the over under. That's why I said high 40s, low 50s.
Well, it just makes me think back to last year. Because remember, Michigan was 3 touchdown favorites over Michigan State and then lost by 3.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, this is prime letdown game because you just had the biggest win of your season so far.
Yeah,
So,
but you have no time to go, okay, you have to tomorrow night already be thinking it's next game. You have to, all right, fine, you beat them. Okay, next, you have next game. You know the rest of your schedule is a dogfight. You have no choice. You are looking to win out.
I'm not saying there will be a letdown.
Alabama to 3 over you? No. That's a bunch of bullshit.
Okay, so at this point, it's moved from 2.5 to 3. I mean, it's really early. I mean, I think the numbers came out this morning. The over-under is currently set at 54.
Okay, that was close. I don't think Michigan was their biggest win, or will be their biggest win this season. I think Ohio State's going to be Michigan State's biggest win.
I just to this point, yeah.
To this point,
and that has to get them when they beat Ohio State. Tomorrow night technically is the first committee.
Oh, the first committee meeting.
This is your ranking.
Yeah.
Tomorrow night is the first where the committee goes, this is your ranking. And I'm sorry, but I don't think Alabama is going to be in that top 4.
They will be. Cincinnati will be 5, and Alabama will be 4.
You think?
Yep.
With Michigan State sitting at 3? And Georgia at 1?
I think you'll have. I think it'll be. Georgia 1. I think you'll have Oklahoma 2, Michigan State 3, Alabama 4, Cincinnati at 5.
Because of their schedule, that's what's going to screw them.
Yep.
Okay.
But doesn't Cincinnati get to play like a Houston or something like that just beat somebody that's like a 16th ranked or something? I mean, so they could get another ranked win.
They could.
Yeah.
They'll get one in the. They'll get one in the conference title game too.
No, they do not. They have South Florida next. SMU is ranked 23rd, and then East Carolina is their last game.
They don't have a conference championship?
There's a conference championship for the AAC.
Yeah. Let me see who it would be.
I want to say it would be Houston.
They probably end up playing Houston. But SMU will stay ranked. SMU will be in the 20s when they play Cincinnati.
Yeah, because they're saying they're 23rd right now.
Well, that's only because they just lost to Houston over the weekend.
Yeah.
On a kick return.
Yeah, it'll probably be. I was gonna say it looks like it'd probably be Houston. It would be Houston and Cincinnati.
But now, doesn't Georgia and Alabama play?
Go ahead.
Doesn't Georgia and Alabama play each other before the SEC championship, or no?
Yeah, they'll play each other twice this year.
Yep. 2 time.
They'll end up playing each other before the SEC title game, and then they'll end up playing each other in the SEC title game.
God, could you imagine?
Which means you could have 3-loss Alabama.
I was just gonna say, fucking 3. Wow.
Yeah, that would be wild as all get out.
I think my biggest thing right now I want to see is you figure you got Michigan State got to play Penn State and Ohio State yet. Michigan's got to play Penn State and Ohio State yet. There's a lot of shit that could go down even in the Big Ten that could shake up a lot of shit. And there's one team that's sitting on the west side, like, yeah, go ahead and beat up on each other, fuckers, and that's Minnesota. Quietly, they're creeping around and they're at the top of their division.
How many losses they have though?
2, I think, but only 1 in the division, maybe.
It doesn't matter. Nobody's going to take a look at a 2-loss Big Ten team.
Well, I'm just saying, as in them going to the Big Ten championship.
Sure, but remember Northwestern a couple of years ago.
Right.
This
could be it's going to be really interesting come this, by the time the end of the season comes.
I think I see my whole thing with the death of the BCS. I thought that maybe, just maybe, we would get away from placing so much value on an undefeated team. And to me, I think a team like that 2-loss Ohio State team that won the championship the first year of the playoff system, they were the best team. Because you lost, you came back, you lost again, you came back a second time. That to me shows better growth as a team than a team that stays undefeated all year.
True.
I'm sure Zolt will disagree.
No, I don't disagree at all.
God damn it,
I
Zolt,
just-
we're supposed to argue.
Sorry.
As much as I want to see, I don't see it happening. I just hope it's a good game here in 3 weeks as of Saturday, on November 27th. I mean, because Lord knows we need something to come.
Oh, boo. Oh,
Squirrel.
Yeah, I was going to say squirrel.
no. So the Giants just had an amazing run. And then all of a sudden they started, it was like a 44-yard run. Then they started walking backwards because there's a flag on the field. And then Jerome Boger does Jerome Boger things and comes out and calls a roughing the passer call on the Chiefs.
Out.
Yeah, hands to the head of the quarterback.
Yep.
Oops.
I mean, all Ohio State really has left is what? Basically Michigan State and Michigan the last 2 games of the season. I mean, I know they play at Nebraska this week, which Nebraska played us tough, but we don't have the Ohio State offense either.
Is that game in the big house?
Yeah, this year it is.
I believe so.
It's in the big house this year? Yeah. And is the Michigan State game in Lansing, or is that at Ohio State?
Because Michigan got screwed to where, because of the way COVID shit, they switched things around. Michigan had to play at Penn State and at Michigan State, and Ohio State gets both of them at home this year.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Nebraska is away. Purdue is at home. Michigan State is at home, and it is in Michigan.
I'd love to go to that game, but I want to keep my undefeated streak intact, so I'll just stay away and watch it at home.
I will be up in enemy territory, I presume I will.
I almost got arrested once for peeing on the giant M in the middle of the parking lot.
Not surprised.
At the moment, I fully anticipate to be in enemy territory for that weekend.
I used to enjoy going out and watching it with friends at bars and shit, and being the only Michigan fan in the bars. And then of course last year I went to the same bar 2 years in a row. Or no, it wasn't last year, it was the year before. And it was I literally called out every single one. I'm like, where the fuck were all you assholes the last couple of years? And I was in here by myself. We have a good season. All of a sudden you want to show up? This isn't how this works.
Yeah, I was in overtime a few years ago, sitting with Griffith and a friend Jason, and we're watching that game. And I'm, of course, the only Ohio State full-on gear, and everybody else is Michigan galore around the place, and Michigan's just getting that ass whooped. And Griffith just looked over at me and he goes, "You know you're on your own, right?" I was like, "Uh-huh." I've heard that before. I've got no problem with it.
Exactly why I'll never go down to the Columbus for a game.
It was bizarre. Bryce had the tournament in Columbus on Saturday, and we were kind of wondering. It's like, wow, this place is packed. Or, restaurants were packed, the hotels were packed. And we're like, what the hell? And that's when we realized that Penn State was in town. The game was there. So Bryce actually said, well, should we go to the game? And I was thinking, tickets to GBs should be about $60.
Because I don't even like you.
No. A nosebleed.
Get off me!
Top row.
Get off me!
Beat $220.
I got
But guess what? Against Purdue, On the 13th, $60.
Yep.
It's right where I said it would be. $60 for
I was kind of
but
surprised to
for
see
Penn
that.
State, $220.
I was kind of surprised to see that Michigan's playing at night this week
That's okay.
Really?
against
I'm a little
Indiana.
nervous.
Maybe because they were thinking it was going to be better before Penix went down or whatever, but
Maybe we have to, get so much money out of those lights every year.
possibility.
But it would have been, I guess it would have been pretty cool if it was a lower rate ordeal. Bryce and I would have ended up just kind of hanging out and actually going to the game, which would have been kind of cool.
He's never been to one yet, has he?
He has been to a couple of Browns games, but
not guys.
Nothing for college. Like I said, I've been fortunate enough to be in East Lansing for the Ohio State-Michigan State game, which was a lot of fun. Also a Michigan State-Minnesota game. But no, I've never had the opportunity to be at the shoe, and that almost happened. It almost happened. There were some seats available. And I would have told Bryce, yeah, well, let's go. Why not?
How are the people at East Lansville?
What's that?
How are the fans at East Lansville if you come in with the other shit on?
Well, this was the funny part is as I'm in an RV with Suds and a few other friends that are all decked out in their Michigan State, we pull in to the accessible plantation where, like I said, the last time it was the Michigan State Minnesota game, I saw all green and white. We pulled in and it was like everybody sold their tickets to Ohio State fans. It was nothing but red. We walked into the stadium. The only section that was white was the student section. And we did the OHIO around East Lansing Stadium.
World's worst fucking chant.
It got worse when they turned around and people actually started to sing Hang On Sloopy a cappella. And I was like, that's the ultimate insult right there.
Right, you just gotta look out though. Those guys might riot though.
Apparently,
there weren't any Michigan State fans. It was just the student section. Everybody else was Ohio State fans.
Apparently, that's what you got to worry about rioting.
So they just showed Daniel Jones on the Giants sideline, and I never realized how much he looks like Eli Manning minus the dumb face.
All right, let's get off of the college ordeal. We've got literally.
Can we do picks?
Yes.
We need to get through our NFL pro picks and Halloween disasters. Who knew that the prison inmate game would end up being the Browns and Steelers with the whopping, what was that over under you had, Zolt? Almost 40? And they couldn't even get 25. They got 25 combined total points.
I'm assuming
That
I
whole-
don't actually. I don't remember the actual number, but I'm assuming that was the under.
Listen, that whole schedule yesterday was terrible.
Thanks, Zolt. There's our train. Right on cue for the NFL.
This one was Adams.
Yeah, well, I'll take the blame. The thing that pisses me off is that I just wanted one of my teams to win this weekend. I was more happy to see a Michigan win and the Browns lost, but not both of them fucking losing.
Yeah, it was. That was the weird one. The Bengals getting beat by the Jets.
Oh, I'm upset that fuck me. I lasted 7 weeks this year in my Survivor poll thing.
You took the
fucking
Bengals.
Chargers.
Oh,
No,
the
the
Chargers.
Chargers. I was not expecting that.
And
That defense just got better too.
And the unfortunately Scott Sanders has also been eliminated because that was the game that he goes, hey, so I should probably take the Bengals at the Jets. And I went, yeah, that's pretty much the common sense one. But I said, I think you'd be foolish not to take the Eagles over the Lions. And he went with the Bengals at the Jets instead. I was like, anybody against the Lions at this point.
No, at this point, take
Yeah.
anybody against the Texans.
That too.
Phil, yeah, that too. So it was ugly it's ugly for everybody.
Oh,
The
boy.
picks. The only person who's making up a little bit of ground for picks is Sutton's. He's currently at 11. Everybody else is 7 and 8, except Akers is at 5.
I thought I had 9 or 8, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, no. He sent you his picks in, George. You purposefully screwed him and left the Rams out.
No, I didn't. Everybody got the same damn schedule in the chat. Everybody's got it. Those who decide to submit on their own and not like specifically follow the pattern of how I set these games up right here on this side, and I literally copy and paste this in. So if you decide to go onto the site themselves and start going through and giving it, and you just happen to miss it, it's like, hey, it happens. It is what it is. Nice.
And we all got screwed up in the Bucks game.
Yeah, there was a lot of hosing going on everywhere. I was kind of happy with the Patriots over the Chargers. I was the lone wolf on that one. That's the only thing I get to celebrate out of it, because the rest of my picks are crap. It was garbage, but
weird week.
It was a true Halloween week. That's for damn sure. Nobody saw the Saints beating the Bucks.
No, not at all. Especially with Winston going down.
The Saints defense literally lit it up. 100%. The Saints defense lit it up. And then who knew that even without Dak Prescott, the Cowboys still pulled it off.
Cooper Rush.
Cooper Rush.
Cooper to Cooper, at the end.
Yeah, they were saying that was something similar to the Dalton Schultz from last year.
Well, the funny thing is this shows you how fucked up Browns fans are. They started bitching about how well of a game he had, and they immediately went after Baker. That this guy can fucking do it, but Baker can't. I'm staying out of it. I'm just fucking leaving it alone this weekend.
Yeah, and I know we'll get more into that tomorrow night on your show. That's a whole.
I know. Don't get me started.
Play calling galore, and like we said, the receivers need to catch the football.
Before we get into the slate, we have 2 games with double-digit spreads this week. We have 3 games where the over/under is at least 50.
Ooh.
And then we have 2 games with what I would consider to be fairly low over/unders. We've got a 41 and a half, and we got a 40.
One of the low balls.
We'll let you guess as we come across. Although this is a strange week because, I've got basically numbers for like 5 different sites up, and the one I usually use, which is BetMGM, has 3 games completely off the board right now. You can't bet them.
Ooh.
They make sense, so I'm actually having to use a different column than I normally do. But like Denver Dallas is off the board for BetMGM because they don't know who the quarterback is for Dallas.
True.
Atlanta, New Orleans, off the board because we don't know who the quarterback's going to be for New Orleans.
Yeah, we do.
Well, we do, but
yes, we do. We definitely do. We definitely do.
Right now, Green Bay and Kansas City's off the board. I think just because this game is ongoing right now. So.
Right.
But anyway, to the picks.
He says, into the picks.
To the picks.
Starting off on Thursday night, the new kid on the block with the Jets
Who picked him up? Anybody?
At the Colts.
I have Mike White.
Shocked if Oh man.
He'll make for a decent backup. I also have the other guy, Carter. I picked up Carter because he was just sitting there.
Michael.
Yeah.
I had him, and I'm like, I don't think he's gonna do shit. And then he fucking goes off Sunday. I'm like, yeah,
Of
that's my
course.
fucking luck this year. Like, I just can't get out of winning. I literally win one, lose two, win. It's like I just can't get on this fucking winning streak.
I dropped Ridley yesterday and picked up Judy in Sean's.
Give Judy another
Yeah,
week.
I was gonna say, Judy needs another week.
Gotta knock the rust
He
off.
didn't do too bad. He didn't do too bad. It wasn't enough. I just bombed out in Zolt's league with that combo, and even in the DA league, I bombed out with the combo. But it's like you got to give it another week, and it could be right as rain that way. But the Jets against the Colts, it's kind of like, okay, was it the Halloween, weirdness, or is it legit? That's a good question at this point.
I don't think the Jets are legit.
Okay, I'm just asking the question. Who would you like, Mr. Bruiser?
I want the Colts, especially after that game against the Titans yesterday.
That's a hell of a game.
They stood in the ring with the Titans the entire time and took every punch that the Titans had to throw and lost in overtime. There's no shame in that loss at all.
I agree. I'm hesitant a little. I'm a little nervous, but I also am taking the Colts. Adam?
I think the horseshoes.
Zolt?
I mean, this is the Jets, and yeah, they looked okay last week, but you better string together a few weeks of that before I'm going to start picking you. Give me the Colts.
Okay.
Oh, Colts are favored by 10.5.
Ooh. Okay. Interesting. Wow, 10.5.
So if I was still in Survivor, Colts would have been the pick this week.
Hmm.
No, it fucked me the last time you told me to take Indy, remember?
I am well
Damn,
known.
somebody's not salty about it.
I bring it up because it's funny. Oh, yeah, take the Colts.
No, Christ. That was last season.
That's true. Tampa Bay wins. Sorry. They beat the Capitals.
Wow.
Granted, I don't think the Capitals are going to win yet this year.
Give Obi some time. He'll get one.
Yeah. All right. Next up, the Falcons at the Saints. And Zolt said this one's off the board.
It's off the board on one. I've got
On
numbers
one.
on it. Yeah.
So, Mr. Zolt, Burrich and Doug also have the Colts. I've got their picks already. Burrich went Falcons. Doug took Saints. I'm actually also going with the Saints.
I'm going with the Saints based purely off that defense. I have no idea what that offense is going to do, but I'll go based off the defense.
Okay. Adam, what are your thoughts?
Give me the Saints. I thought the Falcons had, the way Carolina played, I thought for sure Atlanta was going to beat them, and Carolina's defense showed up again.
Yeah, talk about the Houdini team.
Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah, that's.
But then again, I should have thought with Gilmore playing, he might have given them a boost. I totally forgot he was even starting on Sunday. So.
All right, Bruiser.
I'll take the Falcons.
Okay.
Just because with Jameis Winston out, I don't know how that offense is going to respond.
Trevor Siemian isn't going to handle it?
No, I don't think so.
Is it something with that dome because remember Brady? I think pretty much they got smoked there last year by Breeze, if I recall correctly.
Mhm.
Something about
Yep.
that fucking film that Brady just cannot
It's
play well.
dude. It's the city. If you've ever
that-
been, have you ever been to New Orleans?
Uh,
Dude, there's a vibe in that city that's just
that voodoo shit.
oh, it's weird.
He'll
Yep,
mess with
and Brady don't like you.
Yeah. So we went to this when
I was
was
gonna
down.
say, isn't that the stadium where he lost the Super Bowl too?
No, he lost one in Indianapolis and
Indianapolis?
then Arizona.
Okay. Wondering if that might have had something to do with it too.
You
When
told
we
me
were-
the main when it was there.
when we went down to New Orleans, when I was down in New Orleans, we're walking through the French Quarter, me and a friend of mine, and we walk into this little voodoo shop off of Bourbon Street, and it's a legit shop. And one of the old city wells is still coming out of the ground, and they had built the shop around this well and put kind of like an altar essentially. You go up and you leave a bracelet or change or whatever. And one of the signs on there says, "Do not take a picture of the offering table. The spirits don't like it." Some fucking Karen, because we didn't have that term back then, is in there taking pictures, and the lady comes from around the corner, and I can't do her accent justice, but it's that Creole Jamaican. It's hey, the sign says no, and the lady's like, it's so cool, and lady looks at her and says, "Well, don't get mad at me when the voodoo spirits follow you home." And I was like, oof.
Time to go.
Yep. Check.
They
please.
take that shit seriously down there.
Yep. Hey, I ain't fucking around with it.
No, but that's a fun place. That's a fun spot.
Next up, Broncos are at the Cowboys.
Give me the horsies.
I don't trust Teddy Two Gloves.
Really?
I don't trust your face, so
Try
I'll
waking
take
up to
the
it.
Cowboys.
that's why I pity your wife. She has to roll over and look at that every morning.
Cowboys are
Mr.
real.
Zolt.
The Cowboys are real.
Sure seems like it.
And as much as I hated to tell my brother, it's like, God, your team looks good this year. He said, "Wow, that took a lot for you to get." I said, "Yes, it was," and you'll never hear me say it.
So, of course, Cowboys are real, or Roy Rogers would have never had a career.
Next game up.
How about them Cowboys?
The Panthers.
You got mine, right? Because I said I don't trust Teddy Two Gloves.
Yes.
Okay.
I like how Zolt no-sold that joke. It makes me feel like
You know, that's what I'm here for.
dick.
Adam. Jekyll
Why you
and
always-
Hyde or Billy?
Well, I don't think Darnold's had much luck against Belichick regardless of where he's at, so I'm going to go Patriots.
I also took the Patriots. Bruiser.
Give me the Pats.
Zolt.
Carolina is that team. It's the team that no matter what you think they're going to do, they're going to do the exact opposite. I'm hopeful CMC returns. Mainly because I'm sick of wondering whether I should start Hubbard every week. Yeah, give me the Panthers. What the hell?
I knew you were
All
going
right,
to do
you
that.
and Mr.
I knew
Birch.
the way that was going.
You and Mr. Birch both have the Panthers. Doug took the Patriots as well.
Fuck, I was going to say, what did Doug take?
Next up, the Vikings at the Ravens, who are coming off the bye week, licking their wounds from a Cincinnati whooping.
Oh.
I'm taking the Ravens because I think that this Harbaugh and the rest of the team are seriously pissed, and
Yeah, this is hired the wrong Harbaugh.
it will be if this is not a double digit, I think the Ravens will make it a double digit spread.
Noted. It is not a double digit spread. The spread's 5.5. I'm definitely going the Ravens because I don't think Minnesota's got what it takes. They've got Dalvin Cook, who is showing flashes, but until he puts it all together, I mean, thank God
It's
I don't
too
have
early.
any. Thank God I don't have any shares of that friggin' quarterback in Minnesota.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
David Carr's starting for me this weekend.
Bruiser,
So
who
I'm going to go with the Ravens because I watched the Vikings throw that game away last night. Also, they're going over the specifics of the Von Miller trade over on the halftime. And I would just like to say, I wish it was that easy to make trades in fucking Madden because they got Von Miller for a second and a third round pick.
Second and a third.
Yep.
Wow.
And I had to trade away.
And only $700,000.
I had
Denver
to.
is paying the other $9 million.
I had to trade away 2 firsts and a second to get like a third round fucking lineman for the Browns in that game. That's ridiculous.
That's insane. Yeah, no, Denver's actually there's 9.7 left. Denver's paying the 9, and the Rams are picking up the other 700,000. I was like, wow, got off easy, fellas. Okay. Adam, who would you like?
I wonder if that's conditional. I wonder if the Denver paying that $9 million is conditional.
No, it's not.
Ratbirds for me. I don't trust the Vikings.
Yeah.
Isn't that sad?
I had to ask you anyway. I figured I already knew the answer.
Right.
Isn't that a little sad? We came into this season high on the Vikings. If that was the one team that might be able to contend with the Packers in that division, and now we're sitting there going, I can't trust them. Like, I would trust the Bears more than I trust the Vikings at this point.
Question is does the coach get fired at the end of the year?
Well,
I think so.
We were burying the Bears, and instead it's the Lions sitting in the basement.
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's always open season to bury the Lions. And to be honest, I haven't stopped burying the Bears.
Well, that's because you're a Lions fan, and that's what you're supposed to do.
And it's the bye week this week, so it's like
There's-
you get a reprieve. You don't have to.
They'll find a way to lose to the bye week.
I can't bury the Packers because it's just not possible the way they're playing. So I'll bury the Bears. But I don't know, Minnesota, I mean, so that defense just fell apart. I don't know what the hell happened to that defense because that defense actually was something, and it's not anymore.
Was it all three main linebackers were all free agents, so that's why it was poof, and that's why I stayed away from it in fantasy.
I mean, apparently linebackers are important. Who knew?
Yeah. Well, being a Lions fan,
Yes, we wouldn't know what the hell linebackers are.
Right. Next up, the slinging continues. The Browns are at the Bengals. We've got Burrich and Doug have both said the Browns. I am going with the Bengals on this one.
Yeah, give me the Bungles, and that's probably one of those spreads that's high. Not the spreads, but the over-under is probably high.
Yeah, well, because in the past it has been. We've almost gone 60 freaking points. So, Mr.
Over-under is 46.5.
Ooh. They think it's
high.
going to stay tight. Okay. Adam?
Bengals.
Sorry.
I'm not confident.
I've had a few tonight.
Mr. Zolt?
See, you got two teams looking to bounce back.
Yeah.
That's where it's going to get interesting.
I don't think the Browns can bounce back again. Joe Burrow's something special.
He is.
And I think Jamar Chase gets about $1.50.
The problem is Joe Burrow was special enough to lose to the Jets.
So did Baker last year.
Yeah, give me the Bengals.
The Jets are the Purdue of NFL.
I like that analogy. That's a good one. Next up, the Bills at the Jags.
Next.
Anybody?
Welcome to our double-digit spread.
Oh, how high do we go?
14.
14.
2 touchdowns.
I'm assuming everybody wants the Bills.
I ain't going anywhere near Jacksonville.
I just can't
I'm
believe
just
the Bills.
hoping. I'm just hoping James Robinson plays.
Next, oh my God. This has got to be the low one. This has to be the low one zone. The Texans at the
It's not. But
Dolphins.
this is a who cares game.
Well, this is the prison inmate, Deshaun Watson. Maybe a trade, maybe not. We weren't interested. We are. You know, the smoke screens left, right, and center.
Ain't gonna be no trade.
It's wow. This is totally the ultimate prison inmate game.
What's the over-under?
I got
46.
a nickel. But I went with the Dolphins. Burridge went with the Dolphins. Doug went with the Dolphins. Mr. Zolt?
I will not pick Houston to win a game. So, Miami.
Adam?
Fins up.
Mr. Bruiser?
I'll take the Texans.
Oh.
Okay.
They're going to be without Brandon Cooks because he's getting traded.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm expecting something tomorrow morning about 11-ish.
What time does the trade deadline end? 4?
4 p.m.
Okay.
So you may have news to talk about tomorrow.
Is it like baseball or basketball where the trades, the deadline's at 4, but you'll hear about trades at like 8 o'clock?
Yeah.
So
it's a race tomorrow to who's going to be the breaking news.
Pretty much at 4 o'clock, it's, the intent paperwork is filed. It has to be filed by 4 o'clock.
Gotcha.
Everything can be signed later after the fact, after hours, after 4. But
all the paperwork has to be turned into the league.
The intent paperwork has to be into the league by 4.
By 4, and I guarantee you all the big news will break early in the day to not overshadow the rankings that night.
Right. Raiders at the Giants to finish up the 1 o'clock hour. Zolt.
I mean, I'll go Raiders. They're coming off a bye week. They got an extra week to prepare.
That's the only reason why I picked them too.
I cannot win with the damn Raiders ever.
Is Waller going to be back this week?
It's supposed to be, I think.
I don't.
1 second.
Who is it? Raiders and who?
Giants.
Give me the Raiders because I'm watching the Giants now, and they're.
Okay, Waller was described as day-to-day a week ago. So he was day-to-day going into the bye week. So he should be back. I haven't heard anything yet.
I see a Waller practice last week in full pads on Thursday.
He should be good to go.
The Giants this season remind me of that girl in the horror film that makes all the wrong decisions and somehow fumble fucks her way into surviving to the end.
Bruiser, who would you like?
I'll take the Raiders.
Adam?
Raiders.
All right, the 4 o'clock slate. Chargers at the Eagles. I think Mr. Herbert is pissed, and I don't think the Eagles...
Well, his fantasy owners are pissed, too, for the fucking dud he laid yesterday.
Yeah, that too. Bruiser.
Oof.
Chargers at Philly.
Yeah. Oh, man. The Eagles have bit me in the ass a couple of times when I picked them this season. I'll.
Reluctantly take.
I'm gonna take the Eagles.
He's still going to Eagles. Adam.
There's no way that Herbert can have fucking 2 shitty games in a row. I mean, it's possible, but I don't think he's going to allow it to happen. So I'm going to go with the Chargers.
I am also going with the Chargers. Mr. Zolt.
Philly looked really good when they were playing Detroit. The Chargers are actually good, so I'm going to pick the Chargers.
Yeah.
So wait,
I will.
in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, but listen, sometimes the high school seniors got to beat up on the 5th grader.
Oh, Jesus.
This was the first of our 50 plus over unders. So the over under is 50.5.
Really?
Shootout.
Ooh.
That Eagles offense can score.
It can. Well, it could against
Okay.
Detroit.
Next up, Packers at the Chiefs.
This is easy.
Ugh. This is a tough one.
Is that the national game?
I'm pretty much thinking it should be.
It should be. The other one isn't terrible. To be honest, I would watch any of those 3. So
Yeah, I want to say it should be. Which, I'm still going. My personal pick, I'm taking the Packers. I'm just that Chiefs defense. I think for some goofy reason, it's like, well, the Packers are on right now, and until the Chiefs, if you're going to sit there and try to run, play shootout, okay. I'm assuming this is the other shootout.
oh, this is definitely a shootout.
What are we up to? 52, 54?
55.5.
55 and a half.
Yeah.
Holy, wow.
Start your players, folks. Start your players.
Hopefully, Adams is back. Damn it.
Start everybody. Oh, and by the way, yes, I did say Randall Cobb was going to have a good week last. Now, granted, the yardage weren't there, but the touchdowns were there for those fantasy honks. The TDs were there.
I'm gonna
All
take
Mr.
the
Zolt?
Chiefs. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. No, yeah, chime in. Go for it, Mr.
I'm
Zolt.
gonna take the Chiefs, and not because of the offense. Take the Chiefs because of one player, Tyrann Mathieu. He's gonna have a couple of picks against Rodgers.
Okay. It's the Super Bowl that we all wanted, and we're getting it. Just in regular season.
Give me the Packers. I'm looking at it, and I just think they're a better team.
Adam?
I thought Zolt was going to steal my analogy there for a minute. The way you had started, I was about to be like, "You son of a bitch!" But seeing that it's halftime and the Chiefs are struggling against the Giants, the Packers are not the Giants. Give me the Packers.
Excuse me.
Now, I might blow your mind with this. I certainly did a double take. Kansas City's favored by 3.
It's that Packers defense.
That's the home cover. That's the home favor.
So it's a pick 'em between the 2.
So it's a pick 'em.
It'll switch to a 5-point. Green Bay will be favored.
Oh, it may get down to 1 by Sunday. Okay, next up, a couple weeks ago, we were like, okay, this was going to be a butt-whooping blowout, and it only turned out to be 17-10. This time, the Cards are at the 49ers. I was definitely surprised when it was only a 17-10 game a few weeks ago, thinking, how the hell did that happen?
Yeah, with the week before.
This is our second lowball one. No?
Sorry, what?
This is
I'm
our,
looking up injuries right now.
this is our second low ball one.
No, it's 46.5 over under. Mid range.
Wow. And the last time it was only a 27 total. Interesting. Okay. Mr. Zolt.
I knew you were coming to me first. For some reason, I think San Francisco actually pulls this out. I don't know why, but I'm going to roll with it.
I still can't pick him.
Oh, I
I'm picking
understand.
the Cards.
Well,
I still
I'm
can't pick the
probably-
49. I can't. I just cannot pick the 49. I just can't do it.
Here's the thing. I mean, they found themselves a running game. And I'm certainly starting Debo again. So let's go. I'm going to pull the Doug method of I'm starting the players, so I might as well pick the team.
If they beat the Cards, I will have to wear the Jimmy G jersey next week.
Oh, that could be entertaining.
Especially since I want to burn this jersey.
I was going to say, please don't burn it while you're wearing it.
Hey, we'll get some serious ratings there. All right. Bruiser.
I'll take the Cards.
Adam.
I was hoping you were going to come to me after the result because I could pull the Lee Corso with the not so fast, my friend, but I'm going to go with the Cardinals as well. I think AJ Green redeems himself and actually catches one this week that means something.
I don't know. I don't know where Mike got that. Mike, my friend Mike, got that meme from.
About the retiring in the midway through the fourth quarter.
Into the chat? No, the one that said controller disconnected.
Oh,
that was good. That was a good one. Whoever took the time to create that one, bravo.
I like the one where it says he's retired in the middle of the play.
That one was good. The controller disconnected right in the play. That one was really good. Kudos to that.
So that play, he didn't turn around because he got grabbed after the initial push, and I think he was looking for a flag. Even if the flag comes, you turn around, you catch that ball, you decline the penalty, it's touchdown, game over. I still don't know why he didn't turn around.
Because Kyler even said he missed the signal to change the play to the outside instead of in. He totally missed it. It was on him. Next up, Titans at the Rams. This is going to be a good game.
This is a Sunday night game, right?
Yes, this is the Sunday night
The
game.
other one, isn't it?
Yep.
Welcome to 54-point over under.
Did you say Titans and the Rams?
Wow. Wow. Okay. Wow.
This is one I'm very tempted to just play the under just because you actually have a couple decent defenses here.
And after one certain individual got
I was gonna say
the Rams defense on top of it, I'm feeling good about my fantasy team this week.
Derrick Henry got thrown on IR this afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Pick up AP.
How fast he's going to get kind of shoved in. I mean, you got to remember, this is a guy who has not had football contact in months. So I don't think he's going to be jumping into the fray that fast.
The one thing that's going to help us out is that Akers picked him up in every fucking fantasy league of yours, so he'll get injured in the next 2 to 3 weeks anyway, so it won't fucking matter.
I give it the next couple of days. Oh, my groin. I'm out. He can't start. Yeah. I have taken the Rams. Mr. Zolt?
I'm also going to take the Rams. I think they just have more firepower.
Adam?
Rams, because I need a big game out of Woods and Stafford together.
Bruiser?
Cooper
I'm gonna
Cup.
go the Rams.
Burridge and Doug also took the Rams. Monday Nighter.
God help us.
Snorefest.
God help us.
We might have more ratings than this
Yeah.
game. we may have better ratings than this football game. The Bears are at the Steelers. Oh, Jesus. God
Welcome
almighty.
to the low over-under of the week.
25.
40.
40.
Well, I know it was funny. Like I was watching. They said I think when it came back from halftime of the Browns game, it said the over under for the half was 20.
Yeah.
I'm like, God damn.
Burridge took the Bears. Doug took the Steelers. I am undecided yet. I'm just like, I mean, when even Ben was, all the Steelers were doing is just kicking field goals. I mean,
I don't have a kicker now though.
I don't know. I really don't know. Anybody got anything right out the gate? I mean,
I'm
Okay.
taking the Steelers simply because of their defense, and I think they're going to eat up fucking fields just like the Browns did.
Here's my thing. I've seen absolutely zero news on David Montgomery coming back yet. He went on IR October 9th. So he's technically eligible. But I just don't think he's ready yet. And until he comes back, I have a really hard time picking the Bears against anybody but Detroit and Houston. So I'm taking Pittsburgh.
okay.
It's not that I think that Fields or their aerial attack is worthless. I just think they need a running back to take the pressure off.
I mean, it is Monday Night Football, which means anything can freaking happen.
I'm gonna go the Bears.
I'm tempted too. I still just don't know. It's like the common sense tells you it's the Steelers, but the stupid Monday Night Magic tells you it could be the Bears. I'll go with Pittsburgh. It's not an easy one, that's for sure. All right. That wraps up that setup and picks. Still 14-10. Jesus. That Monday Nighter is just going back and forth, back and forth.
Been a lot of duds on Monday nights this year so far. Other than that, I don't know if there was. I can't remember if it was or not. To be honest with you, week 1, the Ravens and Raiders.
I think I'm gonna have to take a trip to Texas in March next year.
For
World of Outlaw Sprint Cars just put out their schedule tonight. They're putting a dirt track in the Cotton Bowl.
oh shit.
Huh.
They're gonna run the sprint cars in the Cotton Bowl. I need to see this.
Interesting. It's not what I wanted. That is not what I wanted. Still not what I want. Stupid thing. There we go. Yeah, I was gonna say. So, yeah, week 1 we had the Raiders against defeating Baltimore 33-27. Get out of here! Get off of me! God damn freaking. Week 2 we had Green Bay blow out Detroit 35-17. Week 3, Cowboys blow out the Eagles 41-21. Week 4, we had the Chargers beating Vegas 28-14. Week 5, we had Baltimore beating Indy in overtime 31-25.
2 games so far.
Week 6 was the Titans beating Buffalo 34-31.
So we're about halfway.
Somebody slipped.
That damn WD-40 on his cleat.
Yeah, swear to God. And last week's yawner, the 13-10, the Seahawks kicker can't kick.
So we've had 3 out of 15. So you're under half at this point.
Yeah, right now you're really not getting an exciting matchup.
Next week's going to be a barn burner, too.
Week 10, you get the Rams at San Francisco. That could be a little bit better. Oh, Jesus. Week 11, the Giants at the Buccaneers.
How do the Giants shitty ass hit 2 fucking Monday night games?
Monday night games. Just thinking that. How the hell did that happen? The Seahawks are then at Washington in week 12.
That could be good.
Week 13, the Patriots are at the Bills, which could be a little bit better. Week 14 is the Rams at the Cards. We saw how that worked out last time. That was a blowout. Oh, here you go. Week 15, Vikings at the Bears. Yeah, let's break out the popcorn.
Yep, that could change by then, though, couldn't it? The flexing and stuff.
It could.
God, we hope so. We hope so. Because week 15, 16, 17. Well, 17 is going to be interesting. It's Cleveland at Pittsburgh. Cleveland at Pittsburgh on the last Monday nighter. Week 16 is Miami at New Orleans.
Which quarterback will be there?
15, 16. Who's got week 15? Week 15. Who could replace that game? Afternoon. Week 15. Cincy at Denver. Atlanta at San Francisco. Seattle at the Rams. But like you said, your Sunday nighters, New Orleans at Tampa. Yeah. Monday. That's right. You can't change the Monday night games. It's only the Sunday. These are Monday night games. You can't change Monday night games.
You should be able to, because nobody wants to watch that hot garbage that is going to be the Vikings and the Bears.
Yeah, no, and you have the Saints at Tampa as your Sunday night game. Hey, just remember, crappy Monday night games means ratings for us. Yay.
I'm thinking, as bad as this is going to sound, I don't take this the wrong way, so the Lions don't have any Sunday or Monday night games, do they?
Well, I know they've got Thanksgiving nationally televised.
Right.
Sunday night, Monday. They had the Monday.
They had the Monday.
Okay, yeah, the Packers.
Why is it stuck in my head that they might have a Sunday night?
No, they don't.
No, good. Thank God.
No. No, because when they come, oh my God, this is the rest of the. Oh my God, this is the rest of the Lions schedule. They come back from the bye week. They're at the Steelers. They're at Cleveland, against the Bears, the Vikings, at the Broncos, Cards, Falcons, Seahawks, Packers.
Hey, you need to go back to that Browns game, because don't think that they won't play hard for that barge in that game. That's the
one to lose them to the first game. We cannot fucking do it.
That's the Great Lakes Classic. We need that barge, man.
Yeah,
Bring
that's the game where it's like, I'm sorry, no, there is no gift. There will be no gift.
Browns
I
are
don't give
going
a
to lose to the Lions.
nothing. Just beat the fucking Lions.
Because
They're
they
gonna
get the
lose to the
Bears. They
Lions.
get the Bears on Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
and let them be the Thanksgiving.
Hang on. Let's hold off for a second about talking about the Lions and them beating anybody. What we really, really need to be addressing is the absolutely asinine quote that appeared in our chat earlier today, and the fact that it's not the first time that a quote such as this has appeared in the past week or two.
Is it from an individual we all know?
Yes.
What did I do now?
No. This
No,
is a
wrong,
quote.
wrong A.
This is a quote regarding Christian McCaffrey and how after another injury, he should probably not even be drafted anymore.
Did he say something about retirement?
No, he just said if he gets injured again, is it to the point where we just give up on Christian McCaffrey in fantasy purposes?
And let me just say this. He's got 364 yards from scrimmage. He's done that in 3 games. He's 22nd in the league in yards per touch through 3 games. He's got a friggin' hamstring. My God. We've got like 20 guys out with hamstrings right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What was it that Burge said? Can't spell stupid without Akers.
Yeah, please don't ever touch him again because you're going to break him again.
Like I said, he took McCaffrey last year. He was out most of the year, and he just took fucking Henry. And look what happened to Derrick Henry.
Well, I took Henry for him.
No, don't even mention it out loud. It's still on his team. He drafted him. It's gonna take Akers takes the blame.
Which is funny because in Sean's league, when we drafted, Henry was still there when it was my turn, and I ended up picking Dalvin Cook over Henry. And boy, am I glad I did.
Oh, it sucks for Tennessee, but it's like figures. Once I saw that Akers had him, I'm like, go figure. McCaffrey last year, Henry this year. Who's he gonna fuck up? He's like the Madden curse of fantasy.
I just have to get it off my chest. I mean,
And-
the guy, he's
About that.
he's the number 5 running back in the NFL for yards per reception, and he's a hell of a running back.
And he's one of
You don't
3.
find that.
He's one of
And-
3 that hit the 1,000 club for receiving and rushing in a season.
Anyway, I had to get that off my chest.
Do you
Back-
feel
I
better?
A little bit. I'll feel better when he's actually playing.
Right?
So before we go off the air, this just came out from from NASCAR. Kyle Busch will be required to complete sensitivity training before the start of the 2022 season as a result of language used during a post-race interview that is in violation of NASCAR's conduct guidelines.
Which a lot of people said, because isn't it the same word that Haley Deegan used and she had to do the same shit?
Yep.
That's what I thought.
Well, this is interesting. I thought I was losing in all of the leagues. Apparently, in the Michigan League, I'm still going to squeak one out. I'll be damned.
Hey, I was losing my game in Sean's league last night until Jefferson went out.
And I guess there's a reason why somebody dropped Emmanuel Sanders. Son of a bitch. My double up did not work out to my advantage. Goose egged me. Goose egg.
Yeah. I bombed with the Kenneth Gainwell thinking he was going to do something over the weekend because they're playing the Lions, and fuck, boy, was I wrong. Thanks a lot, Bart Scott and Jordan Howard. Or Byron, whatever, or Boston Scott, that's his name, Boston. Hell, the way they played Sunday, Bart could have ran all over him if he played running back. I mean, when you get Devontae Smith, Kyle Pitts, Gainwell, and Chubb all under 100 points, that's going to hurt your fantasy roster, especially in George's league.
And I noticed Mr. Sudbury got a ass whooping again.
That was by courtesy of me in the one league.
And Zolt got his ass in the other. It's like, yeah, hey Suds, plan on picking in the top 4 again next year. Yeah.
It was a good week. It was a good week.
I just want to talk about a big thanks to Emmanuel Sanders for the fucking goose egg this week.
Like I said, ditto. I was like, and let's not forget about the Lions kicker. Let's not forget.
I'm looking at it right now. Negative 20.
Negative freaking 20.
That's all right. I mean,
about him beforehand.
I was on a bye week. It was one of those things like it was just a kicker with the most points, so fuck it. And then thank God Tampa Bay got me out of the hole because they were at negative 40 at one point in that game on Sunday.
Yeah.
All right. Roll the credits.
Let's get the hell out of
Roll
here.
the credits. I'm going to get the hell out of here.
I'm out of here. I got to get downstairs. I'm being yelled at for being too loud anyway.
I got iRacing to do.
See you on the flip side.